In this video, we will cover Python list comprehensions. This concept will be used extensively throughout the course. You will create for loops in lists with only a single line of code. Let's jump into the Lesson 5 notebook in our table of contents. What are list comprehensions? List comprehension offers a shorter syntax when you want to create a new list based on the values of an existing list. For example, based on a list of fruits, you want a new list containing only the fruits with the letter A in the name. Without list comprehension, you will have to write a for statement with a conditional test inside. Let's jump in right into our example so we can make this a little bit more clear with real estate examples. In this case, I have a list of 5 different properties. Again, if our list was really long, we wouldn't know how many properties just by eyeballing. So let's just print out the length of our address list to be sure. We can copy the variable and then wrap it in len. Here we see we have 5 addresses. Some of these fictional street addresses exist in Florida and others in New Jersey. The cities consist of Miami, Toms River, Jackson, and Tampa. In this scenario, we want to get new insurance rates for properties only in Florida. From our existing address list, how do we make sure that we only have properties that are related to Florida? Let's try this out with the knowledge we already know. We know that we can make a for loop to look at each element in our list. So let's start a for loop, and we are going to iterate through our addresses list. We can copy our list and paste it followed by a colon. Then we can print each of our addresses, run our cell, and now we see we have each element printed out. Now what if we only want to look at strings that contain Florida? We can use an if-else statement. We can say if Florida, so FL, is in our string, then print out that address. Great, so we can see there's 3 properties here that are in Florida. But what if we need to hand off these values to someone else? Well, now we need to create a new list. So let's establish new list. And let's append these values. So for new list, we will append value X if it is in Florida. And now if we view the contents of our new list by opening up a new cell, we could see here that we have each of these properties in Florida now in a new list. This took several lines of code to write this. The whole idea with list comprehension is that we condense this into one single line of code. So we can copy our for loop here, which we were going through each address. And now the way the syntax works is if you have an if statement, you place your if statement in front of your for loop. Then at the end, you output what is going to be returned in the list. In this case, if when we iterate through each of these addresses, if it's in Florida, return X. Then we wrap this in brackets, square brackets, and when we run it, we get the same list that we did above. Now let's imagine we want to do something with each of these addresses. Maybe we want to state that it's for insurance purposes. So let's type in insurance at the front as a string and add a plus sign. And now we see insurance, probably add a space as well here, and we could see each of these addresses. So you can not only just export the variable itself, but you could also manipulate it within the list comprehension, all with a single line of code. Now let's walk through one more scenario. In this case, we want to get new insurance rates for properties in Florida. The insurance companies need the zip code for properties in Tampa. Attach zip code to properties in Tampa. We can copy our previous for loop, bring it down, and now modify it. So not only does a property have to be in Florida, but it also needs to be in Tampa, which is my home city. Here we're going to add a space and signed, and then we're going to paste the previous logic, but now we need to make sure Tampa is in our string for our address. So now we're stating to Python, if the variable is in Florida and it states Tampa, then do something with it. From what we see up here, we don't have zip code attached. But say if we know what the zip code is, we can add it here. So we could say X plus, in this case, let's imagine our zip code is 33610. Now if we run this cell, we just printed out X only, but let's look at the contents of our list. Open up a new cell, run the list, and we could see now that we have only properties that are in Tampa, Florida, and now it has a zip code attached. So we can hand this off to the insurance company so they could give us some rates. Let's mimic this logic, but for list comprehension. We can copy our previous code that we had up top. We can remove insurance, and we want to make sure that it's also in Tampa. So we could take this prior logic that we created, we can add it to the end, and then we could state here that we want to add the zip code. So we can copy this here and paste it down below. Run the cell, and now we have the same exact output, but a lot cleaner. Whether it's you yourself going back to code or someone else reading your code, it's a lot easier to interpret when it's in a list comprehension. In this lesson, we covered list comprehensions as a shorter way to write syntax for for loops. So far, we have covered data in lists, tuples, and dictionaries. In reality, a lot of our data sets are similar to rows and columns like in Excel, and they are stored in tables. Let's explore pandas data frames in the following lesson. See you there.